The Iraqi Navy used to maintain facilities up and down these waterways, but many of them were destroyed and others were abandoned. And these days, the Iraqi Navy's only facility is at Qasr. Iraq has a small coast guard that's separate from the Navy that is responsible for patrolling the inland waterways in partnership with the Navy. The Navy maintains several dozen small boats for patrolling the waterways. The Coast Guard, in addition, has several dozen more. But the Coast Guard is under the Iraqi Department of Interior, and the Ministry of Interior, and the Navy is under the Ministry of Defense. And there has been trouble getting the two ministries to cooperate. After arriving in Basra, we paid a visit to the Basra market. British forces accompanied me for security. Every town and city in Iraq has at least one market, which is not only where Iraqis come to buy food and clothes and electronics and the things they need for their daily lives, but it's also a gathering place where men will sip tea and swap news and gossip. You can find almost anything in an Iraqi market, from Chinese-made bootleg DVDs to fine leather shoes, cheap toys, American sodas, high-end electronics. It's all there. Lack of steady electricity is a huge problem in Basra and in many cities in Iraq. So to even out the power supply, many businesses have gas-powered generators, and the generator sells for about $200, which is a lot for an Iraqi. A favorite beverage of many Iraqis is orange soda. Not only can you get the brands you see in Western countries like Fanta or Sunkist, but there are local brands that some soldiers swear by.
Assalamu alaikum.
You'll notice that there aren't many women in 5 Mile Market, at least none visible on camera. Public places are often dominated by men in Iraq, and what few women are there will be covered head to toe in the hijab, the black veil. Little girls are treated like little boys in that they're free to roam, but when girls reach puberty, they're ushered indoors and clothed in black. Since the fall of Saddam, things have actually gotten worse for women in southern Iraq. Saddam's regime enforced a certain, not exactly Western-style equality, but women were encouraged to participate in public life. But now, with the Iraqi government increasingly dominated by the Shiite faction, women find themselves with fewer opportunities and less of a public role. Shiites, more so than Sunnis in Iraq, are a patriarchal group that limits the role of women to the household. In every market you see throngs of children. They're always begging for pencils and candy and pulling at your belt and reaching in your pockets. Iraq has a very young population. Birth rates are extremely high. And despite the large number of schools that the U.S. and British forces have rebuilt or built from scratch, there are few teachers in Iraq, and so most kids do not get an education. After visiting the market, we paid a visit to an Iraqi police station near 5 Mile Market. I had expressed an interest in interviewing Iraqi police, and as the British are actively engaged in rebuilding and training Basra's police force, they were keen to visit as well. British forces in Basra have a close relationship with the Iraqi police, and in many cases conduct joint patrols. The Iraqi police in Basra is dominated by followers of Muqtada al-Sadr. During one visit to a police station, one of the low-ranking cops proudly showed me an image of al-Sadr on his cell phone and gave me a big thumbs up. You'll see that some of the Iraqi police are wearing body armor. A lack of armor has been a major complaint of Iraqi forces throughout Iraq. There's no shortage of AK-47s, but many of the Border Patrol, the police, and the Army lack the body armor that is required for British and American forces. Besides the lack of body armor, another chief complaint of Iraqi police in Basra is that many of them aren't getting paid. A lot of police are more or less foisted. Individual policemen are foisted on the police forces by their tribes, and the forces lack the budgets to pay all of these people. So many police forces in Basra are bloated with an excess number of personnel, which creates challenges for not only paying them but equipping them. Here I'm with troops from the British Coldstream Guards Regiment. We're trying to organize a foot patrol with an Iraqi police unit near 5 Mile Market, but the Iraqis don't want to walk, so they hop into a truck instead, and the British had to basically order them to get out of the truck and walk. The British make an effort to dismount from their vehicles and walk through public places like 5 Mile Market whenever possible. They call it community policing, getting as close as possible to the people that they're policing. The Iraqis don't exactly have that concept of community policing down and prefer to travel in vehicles, whether because they're lazy or it's simply more efficient. It is not for me to say. But the British forces are making every effort to get the Iraqis to walk, or the Iraqi police force to walk around, to simply walk around more in markets and in public places, as a show of force, and to reassure residents that there is a government here and that it's capable of enforcing law. There are a few Westerners in Basra who aren't accompanied by military forces at all times, while there are a few journalists who venture out on their own, based in one of Basra's better hotels, perhaps. These days, you find very few Westerners on the streets. This was my 4th trip to Iraq in 7 months.